right, this is for Natalie. Everybody say hi, Natalie.
Hi, Natalie.
Okay, we hope you get that. It's Terrence said hello. We hope you're getting back to class soon. So, a penny for your thoughts is going to be our introduction to chemistry. We don't write down these objectives, but hopefully by the end of this we'll be able to define what chemistry really is. Observe procedures, write down some observations. That's what we're going to be doing in part of our class today. Define and formulate a hypothesis explaining our observations. You can't see atoms. I can't see the atoms when I'm looking really close to this computer, no matter how close, because they're too darn small. What we have to do is we have to look at what we observe and then figure out what happens. We have all sorts of observations. So one of them is sight. That's what we're going to use today. We're going to use our visual evidence of chemical reactions. All right? You know who came up with the idea of an atom? Who do you think came up with the idea? The Greeks. How do you guys know? You guys are so smart. So way back in the day, don't write this down. They came up with the idea. They didn't really do any testing of it. They just said, there's an atom. Actually, like a lot of our words, the word atom comes from a Greek word, atomos, meaning you can't divide it anymore. So what the Greeks said, it was Greek philosophers, they came up with this idea that you can break down matter into a specific point where you can't break it down anymore. So that's why it means you can't divide it, indivisible, atomos. Pretty cool, huh? They didn't really know what any of the elements were, but they had an idea, but they thought it was all broken down to earth, wind, fire, water. Not the band from the 70s, which was awesome. Earth, Wind, and Fire. You guys ever hear them? Good band. I should put that in the background. Alchemy. That's what led to chemistry. That was the Middle Ages. Now, what they had the idea is that you could change the different elements by doing stuff to them. And a couple of things that they had were okay observations for what the technology that they had, because they didn't have all this fancy stuff that we have now to tell us stuff. So what the idea was, they wanted to change things into gold. Why? Because gold is valuable. Right? Gold is expensive. It's valuable. It's really important. Oh, that hurt. So they had symbols. They had like all these different things. So they tried to transmutate elements into new elements. They came up with a couple cool things. So this is a little thing from the cartoon guide. You guys watch this. I'll read it to you guys. Ready? So the hopeless quest was taken up in Persia by Jabir and Al-Zari. They invented all sorts of useful lab equipment and procedures in the process. This proves you can make tremendous practical progress with stupid ideas. So they tried to get gold. They couldn't get gold. But they came up with all these sort of apparatuses and techniques trying to get the gold, but they never were able to get it because you can't just change the elements. Well, a bunch of stuff they did. Oh, side note, gold symbol, AU. You know how you can remember that? I say, AU, give me back my gold. Get it? AU, give me my gold.
I get it.
Okay. So those of you who aren't laughing, don't get it clearly. Because you're not laughing. I'm just kidding. So, why it is? It's because the old Latin word. The word for gold in Latin is aurum. Have you guys ever heard of an aura? It's like a light given off. Aurum is like a gold light or a glowing. I think it came originally from, they called it the sun's, the gold of the sun in the sunrise. That's where I think that came from. So they couldn't make gold, but they discovered mercury, sulfur, Terrence, can you keep up? And antimony. They discovered those elements. They learned how to make acids. They made lab apparatuses. Alloys. Anyone know what an alloy is? We'll talk about that later.
Is it like a mix of metals?
Yeah, it's a mixture of metals. Good. And they discovered the properties of a lot of elements. Look, alchemist. What word is in there? chemists. They were the first chemists. But they had a couple things that really didn't work out too well.
Should I write that down?
No, you don't have to write this down. I'm going to have us take some notes later. They came up. Oh, I have this slide twice. That's all right. So, but they came up with a bunch of stuff, and they worked out pretty good. All right. Let's pause this. So, why is a penny orange, guys? What's a penny made of? I think a couple of you guys said that. KK, did you say it?
Copper and zinc.
Copper. So the outside of a penny is copper, right? Copper is an orange metal. It's an orange brownish metal. So if you guys can imagine, if you took like the most powerful microscope and looked at those things, there'd be a bunch of like orange colored particles, right? What did we do? Oops. What did we do after I added it the first step? After I put it in the solution? What happened? What color did the penny change? Changed to a silvery color. So, if you guys can imagine, what do you think caused that silver color to happen? The zinc. So what happens is a chemical reaction occurred, and it actually moved the zinc from the zinc chunks onto the copper penny. So it just like coated the outside. It's almost like painting, molecular painting. We took that, we molecularly painted zinc onto the copper. Kind of like gold plating or electroplating, right? So we did that. And we just put them over. Then the penny turned to gold. How do you think that happened? What do you think that did when I heated it up in the flame? What do you think, Ty?
Wait, you heated it up and then what did you do?
I just heated it up. I heated it up. That's all I did. And then I used the water to cool it down so you guys could hold them. What do you think happened when I put it in under the heat?
So how it changed color?
Changed color. What do you think happened to the molecules? What color are the copper molecules? Brownish red, right? Or brownish orange. What color are the zinc molecules?
Gray.
Grayish, silvery. What do you think happens when you put them together? The brownish gray and the silver.
Make gold.
Make a goldish color. Well, anyone know what that's called?
Copper.
Yeah, what metal? There's a specific name for the
Alloy.
metal. It's an alloy. We make as a mixture of metals. But specifically for this one, that it rhymes with pass. Brass. It's a brass metal. So, did I turn it to silver and gold?
No.
No. Why? Well, you can't do that. You can't just change elements.
Did the alchemists figure this out?
After a long time.
Did they do this and like we're like, oh, very cool.
Probably.
And like not really.
Yeah.
They're upset.
Yep. So I'm sure a lot of people, well, they thought they wasted lives, but they found out a lot of other stuff too. So, like, take a look at this here, this up here, this diagram. It's kind of explaining what we did. So, guys, eyes on the board. So we have the copper. I heated it up, and I just put the zinc around the copper. So zinc coated the copper. Then I heated it up, and what that did, it just mixed up the zinc and the copper molecules, so it appears to be gold. Okay? Does that make sense? Okay. So I'm going to stop this.